The Chicago Bears have gained the name of the Monsters of the Midway because of guys like Brian Urlacher, Dick Butkus, and Mike Singletary, and obviously many more. And we recently have had some really solid units, especially this past year, that consist of guys like Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, and TJ Edwards. And all our areas on our defense currently are very solid, in my opinion, one of which I think is super overlooked, and that is our edge unit. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. I think Chicago has the potential to have a top edge unit in the NFL this upcoming season, and I know we're all saying we need to find an edge to pair with Montez Sweat. Well, I mean, with new defensive coordinator Eric Washington and what he's known for unlocking defensive lines and has developed some of the league's best defensive linemen and edges over the last decade, I think we got it. And the guys that we have right now, I'm very confident with, and I'm going to break down why. So right now, our edge room goes as the following. You have Montez Sweat at 27 years old, standing at 6'6", 262 pounds with 41.5 career sacks, along with DeMarcus Walker, who is 29 years old, standing at 6'4", 280 pounds with 23 career sacks. Then you have the new rookie out of Kansas, Austin Booker, at 21 years old, who's 6'6", 245 pounds with 8 sacks in college. But fun fact, he only played 2 years in the NCAA. And then Dominique Robinson, who is entering his third season at 25 years old. He's 6'4", 253 pounds and has 2 career sacks. That is not a bad room by any means, totaling for 74.5 career sacks, including Austin Booker's college stats. But considering that none of these guys are over 30 years old, a lot have gas left in the tank, and they are fired up, especially with how well the second half of the season went last year. I think they're all feeling that they're going to complement each other well with Eric Washington and be a very solid group even without a free agent. And before we get into the breakdown of today's show, if you think that the edge room is going to make some noise this upcoming season in the NFL, make sure to smash that like button on this video to show your support, along with commenting how many sacks you think the current unit will have by the total end of the season. And if you are correct on the exact number for this unit, I will send you a Bears jersey. I will choose out of a pool whoever gets the exact number correct for the total group, and I will choose one person after the season to win an NFL jersey. So let's start off with that first guy, Montez Sweat, who we acquired last year from the Washington Commanders for a second-round pick, which ended up being a complete steal, considering this guy went to Mississippi State and has played for the Commanders and the Bears. In total, in his career, he has 222 total tackles, 137 of them being solo, 51 tackles for loss, 41.5 sacks, like I said earlier, 99 quarterback hits, so that 100 is probably going to come in the first game, 14 pass deflections, 10 forced fumbles with no fumble recoveries, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. But this past year for the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders was a career year for him. 57 total tackles, along with 38 being of solo, 14 tackles lost with 12.5 sacks, 25 quarterback hits, 4 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and wow, what a season it was and the impact that he had on this team. Dude is just flat out fast and doesn't allow anyone to stop him. He already looks super strong and light at camp already this season. So I'm excited as hell to see what this guy does, if he can keep up the high energy and the impact he had in only 9 games with the Chicago Bears, which, by the way, again, he unlocked this defense single-handedly. And I would love another one of him across from him, obviously, but we already have that on the roster in my personal opinion. Second guy I'm going to talk about today is DeMarcus Walker, who we picked up out of free agency last season from the Tennessee Titans. Walker went to Florida State and has played for the Broncos, the Texans, the Titans, and now the Chicago Bears. And in his career, he has 144 total tackles, 92 of them being solo, along with 33 tackles for loss, 23 sacks, 55 quarterback hits. Last year had a career year. I'll break that down in a second, along with 2 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. I mean, he's an impactful player. I think that he's always been underrated. I think we got him on a steal too. We're not paying him too much money. We're not paying top edge money. We're not paying him under money either. We're paying him just right for what he brings, because last year for the Chicago Bears, especially after Montez Sweat came to this team, he was absolutely unlocked. He had 30 total tackles with 17 of them being solo, 9 tackles for loss, 6 of them coming after Montez Sweat, along with 3.5 sacks, 2 of them coming after Montez Sweat, 16 quarterback hits, and this guy was playing. He plays a lot bigger than he is. I mean, he is 280 pounds, which is not small, and he's 6'4". So he is bigger than Khalil Mack from a, fat to muscle ratio, probably not as much. D-Walk does carry his weight a little bit, but he's still a massive human being. So D-Walk, if you're watching this, you are in great shape, by the way. But, you know, he really wasn't too far off last season from having a lot more sacks, considering he did have 16 quarterback hits last year, which was a career year for him. He's a very big and strong edge. That's a great speed that allows him to fly past defenders. And again, once he had Montez Sweat, he really started to become unlocked. And also, he was sitting behind Yannick in the second half of the season. So he was a rotational guy in the second half of the season, and he still had better stats for the entire rest of the season. I think D-Walk was just getting used to Eberflus's defense. I think that he's going to be a huge part of this team, considering he has 2 years left on his contract. But Sweat really helped unlock him, and I'm excited to see what he brings next. Now, before I get more into the last two guys of the day, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Freshie Organic Tequila Seltzer. Go to the link in the description now and click on the Freshie Finder to find Freshie near you to try 99 calories of the best organic tequila seltzer in the Chicagoland area, based out of Chicago, by the way, so you're supporting a local business. All right, so let's go into the rookie Austin Booker from Kansas. Obviously, he's only played for one team, the Chicago Bears. And last year for Kansas, man, this guy was an absolute monster. And I think that if he would have stayed one more year, not only Kansas would have been a lot better, but he could have been a lot later pick. But he wanted to go to the NFL now, and I totally respect that. He has 56 total tackles last year for Kansas, along with 40 of them being solo, 12 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 27 quarterback hits, and 1 pass deflection with 2 forced fumbles. I mean, dude is impressing. We've already heard from Montez Sweat himself talk about how he's so impressed by this rookie and that he thinks he could be one of the great edges in this league for plenty of years because he's picking up the game so quickly and is athletic and overall motor on the field. He is also very big for an edge, 6'6", no joke. Get this guy in an NFL weight room and an NFL diet. He'll be 255 by the start of the season, which is pretty darn scary. Eric Washington, too, like we said earlier, develops defensive linemen, and the kid is just learning. And I think he's going to be a huge problem in the NFL. I really like what I'm seeing out of Austin Booker so far at camp, and I think that he's going to be really special. And the last guy in the room at the moment, Dominique Robinson, who went to the Miami of Ohio, has only played for the Chicago Bears because he was drafted by them 2 years ago. And in his career, he has 42 total tackles, 24 being solo, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 3 quarterback hits, along with 3 pass deflections. His 2023 stats were cut a little short because he only played in 11 games due to injury, 12 total tackles with 5 being solo, 1 tackles for loss, half a sack, and 1 quarterback hit and 1 pass deflection. So clearly not the best stats, but Poles brought him in because he has a super low risk, very high reward. He can also play a lot of different positions. He played quarterback, he played wide receiver, and even tight end. So maybe they might even try to convert him to a different position and make him a utility guy, but he's not bad on the edge. It's just that he's not obviously Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, or even Austin Booker. He's a good rotation guy. He gets the job done. He has a high motor when he's on the field. But we'll see what ends up happening with D-Rob this season. We have all 4 guys under 40 years old. And it's not that you can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of situation. These guys are young and they're still in the prime of their career. Some of them haven't even touched it yet. So overall, I really like this room, especially Austin Booker. I think he's insanely impressive so far for being a 5th round pick in the NFL. This could be a really talented room for years to come, and Poles hasn't even, looked in another direction or looked to go get a potential free agent. So overall, things are going really well for this room right now. So I don't mind if they sign a free agent. I'll probably do a video covering another one in a couple of days here, but I don't mind it if they do not sign a free agent is what I'm saying. With that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. Make sure you comment your thoughts in the comments section below, along with liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already. Let's hit 16,000 before the end of June. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in, and bear down, baby.